What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumbass. Like and subscribe. So, the partner preview happened. And I think I'm not going to talk about it today. Because I want to watch it again. And there are a handful of games I'm definitely going to play, blah, blah, blah. I'll give you a quick, brief overview. It was great. Maybe one game that I'm going to play, the frog game. Everything else looks nice. Whatever. We go in depth later when I'm at the computer and we can go through them and look through them. But I want to talk about Crimson Desert real quick. Now, remember I said a couple videos ago, I said I think I'm going to buy it. So I bought it, basically. Full regular price. I didn't get the deluxe thing. The regular price, $670, whatever. You know, downloaded, boom, boom, boom. Right. So I started playing it. I was like, okay, this is a game. You know, when you first get it, see, okay, it's hard to. Okay, it's not hard, but what has happened in video games as far as players and games themselves, and I blame Sony for some of this. I blame Sony for most of it because they have one of their pillars is this type of game, and what I'm talking about are the cinematic games that emphasize cinematics and movie-like, you know, visuals over gameplay. Crimson Desert is not that. It has cinematics. It has, you know, the bars come down and you lose control and then they do the thing, whatever. But Crimson Desert is a game-ass game. And when I say that, you have to understand, it's like maybe I'm 4 hours in. I'm barely into this. I barely broke the surface on this game, right? And I already see, like yesterday I was playing, and I was just like, oh, let me play. Oh, there's a question mark here. So, you know, you get, I'm still in the first town thing, right? So the question mark, I'm like, oh, let me go see what all the question marks. And the question marks are points of interest, usually a store, usually vendors and stuff like that, right? So I went to this one question mark. I was, what's this? I walked in, and there's like a kind of a goblin sitting behind and it's a bank. And I was like, oh. And I go, you know, it says bank or whatever. You press the button, and then it's like, it has interest. I'm like, yo, this is way more than your regular, oh, you got a loot box, you put your loot here and you save your loot and you go to the shop and you buy. That's there too. All that's there. But I'm like, I mean, look, there are other games, particularly MMOs, that have banks and stuff, and they have their own currency and stuff, but never encountered it in a single-player game because I don't really play MMOs like that. So I was like, okay, all right, this is pretty cool. And what it illustrates is that you can be any type of gamer and like this game because there's so many systems in this game that you don't have to do everything. You can be like, you know what? I don't care about the bank. I'm not going to do the bank thing. Skip, right? So you at your camp, you put your money in your little chest or whatever, and that's it, right? Although you got to be careful because people will rob you. They'll pickpocket you. You know, you're walking around, somebody bump into you, you hear the ching ching. You're like, hold up, this fool just robbed me. I saw a video, somebody bumped into him, robbed him, and then he was like, and he jumped him. He's like, she beat him up, and he took him to the jail. And it was like, oh, we got another one, oi. And then I think he got some of his money back plus some other money. I was like, oh, okay. But that's not even, that's barely scratching the surface. I mean, I'm barely scratching the surface on the game itself. So there's another part. I'm walking around. I went to visit a so-called gray mare. A gray mare? That's what they're called? Yeah, gray mare. One of my peoples, right? And so I was like, man, and there's this drunk guy who's trying to pretend to be one and whatever. And then we went and we did some goofy quests about these thieves stealing everybody's goats and stuff. And we did that, and everybody got their animals back and stuff. And then after I did that one, I'm walking, and the thing, you have like a lantern on your side, right? And it glows every time there is a treasure nearby or something, like a kind of a, not a point of interest, but I think it is a treasure or something. And so it was glowing, so I was like, all right. So, and then you press the button, and then you put on the super vision helmet thing, and you see like the past vision things. And I did that, and then I was standing there, and I looked around, and there was like a light on the top of like a cliff over there. And then somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, there's a bright light on that cliff. I saw it last night in the middle of the night." I was like, "Oh my gosh, wow!" And I was like, "Oh, sounds like I gotta go over there and check it out." And so I went over there, boop, 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 climbed up the little hill, and then I had put the thing on, and then it showed like a past thing, and there was these two guards there. It's like, "Oh man, this tree is a tree that got struck by lightning." It's like, "Oh man, this is like a mystical, magical tree got struck by lightning. Anybody who tries to cut down the tree gets struck by lightning, and it's supposed to be really special." And I was like, "Oh." And they said, "Oh, you can make the unbreakable sword with this wood from the tree of the lightning tree." I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I cut the tree down. I did not get struck by lightning because, well, it wasn't raining or anything. But and it fell off the cliff, and I could have grabbed it then, but it fell off the cliff, so I went down. And the funny thing about the trees are huge, right? And so you could do like I forgot what it's called, like levitation spell thing, and you levitate it and you grab it, and he's literally carrying a giant tree, like a real big tree. And so I just threw it down, I chopped it up into pieces. So I got some really fine lumber, whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. So nothing happened, but it was kind of like, it was like a little mini adventure that really didn't do anything. But that was like the most uneventful thing that happened. And so it's like the people that my main point about like going through like this game and understanding why people love this game, and I am liking it a lot. There are two type of gamers when we're in respect to like open world or RPGs and such. One is the indoctrinated pony and donkey unicorn who need to have cinematic movie quality visuals in order for the game to be good. No, they never talk about the gameplay. They just talk about, "Oh my god, you see the part where dude got shot in the face? Oh my gosh, you see the part where Joel got smashed up? You see that? You see the part where Abby got smashed up?" That's that type of gamer who likes to watch their games but not play them. And like I said, I blame Sony for that because they've introduced this type of game. Although I would say Uncharted was less of that. It was more of a game, but slowly but surely they've kind of created a environment where it's acceptable to have a thing that you call a game that really is more of a interactive story with gameplay elements. It is first an interactive story, and those type of people like those type of games. There's nothing wrong with that. You could like those type of games. That's fine. You could go watch a movie instead of reading a book. If that's what you prefer, that's fine. The other players are kind of like me, where it's about how your brain works in a way. It's really about creativity, right? So in The Last of Us, Uncharted, all these games, you are dragged along the story. You have no control over what happens in your game. You have no control over pacing. You have no control over anything. You play, story happens. You play a little bit more, story happens. No, there's no control. The story will happen regardless of. You could say, "I just want to see the story, take out all the gameplay parts," and you're just watching a movie basically on these games, right? Crimson Desert. There's story. There's the main quest line. You can go from X to X to X and follow it that way. That's fine. You could do that. But the world is so big. All right, check it. This is another thing that happened to me, right? Everybody's saying, "Oh, the controls suck," whatever. The controls don't suck. They're just different. They're not the controls that you intuitively know of. The B button does something different. The X button is jump. And it's also the wing, raven wings or whatever. Your attack is on R trigger and R bumper, and the block I think is left bumper or something like that. Or no, it's left bumper. The grappling hook punch thingy, I can't remember. I think that's left bumper. Yeah. But anyway, it's just a different like control scheme, and so it does getting used to. But you know, that's nothing. But the way that this game approaches open worldness and how there's so many systems in it where you can, you customize your character, obviously, but you have to do some, you get a little piece of here, a little piece there, I got a little piece here, I got some greaves, I got some stuff. I'm like, okay, that's cool. The voice acting is really good. Because I like those old timey accents. I like the British. Well, old timey. It's British accents and stuff. I like that. It's not the best looking game. I mean, you'd have to have a super duper dope computer, but at the same time, it is, because I'm playing on Series X, right? And I can see the shortcomings of it being on console. And I would just say that the Pixeltech 5 Potato probably just has better resolution. I think that's pretty much all it does. I think it's 60. I tried to play it on 60. It was real fuzzy. I was like, eh. So I played on balance, which is fine. I think it's like 40 frames, but it's fine. And I would say, like, as far as the graphics go, like the hair is a little less than, but everything else looks like nice. So I'm like, all right, well, that's not even like an issue, because once again, it's not about the graphics. It's not about the presentation per se, even though the presentation is fine. It's about the gameplay systems. It's about the gameplay, the game, and there's so much gameplay in this game that I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, this is going to be one of those games. I remember I called Starfield the forever game, but I quickly, well, I did one run through, and I said, I'm good. Let me wait till the DLC come out, and I never went back to it. But this game, when you play a game and you're not playing the game, but you're thinking about playing the game, that's this game for me. I'm like, and the thing about it also is that, like I said, I'm in the first little town. I forgot what it's called. And I zoomed out on the map, right? I picked up a couple of wanted posters, right? And I was like, oh, let's see what these criminals, you know what I'm saying? And then it'll show you on the map, like, where they are, but it's a fog of war. I haven't gone to that spot yet. And so I zoom out, and I zoom out, and I zoom out, and I'm like, yo, this map is huge. And I was like, he's all the way, I'm not going all the way over there. That's crazy. He's too far away for me to go. I mean, I got a horse and everything. I can ride, but I was like, nah, I got so much stuff to do. And they also do a thing where there's like a giant question mark on the town that I'm in. It's like, you should look around and see what's going on and investigate. And I was like, all right, let me investigate because I want to see. And I have no idea but that's the thing. That's what I'm getting to, is that this game is for gamers that have an imagination, if you will. Remember when you're a kid and you're like, you just thought of all these crazy things to do, and you're like, oh man, let's play this, and then you with your friends and just make up stuff, and oh man, it's kind of like that. They give you like this giant sandbox and a whole bunch of things happening around you, and you can pick and choose what you want. You're walking in the forest or the meadows or whatever, and there's like crickets and dragonflies flying around, and you can just grab them. Like grab some flowers, grab some rabbits. I grabbed a rabbit one time. I think it was a rabbit. It's just, I was carrying it, and I put it down and ran away. I was like, there's no games that really do all of this. And then I did the cooking. I was like, oh man, I gotta cook this fish soup or whatever it was for this lady in town. She's like, I can't cook, you gotta hook it up for me. And I was like, all right. And I'm a dummy. There was a freaking a cauldron or whatever they called right there, and I went all the way off the path to find another one that I saw in the like the homeless village or whatever. Oh man, yeah, I can see why like Luke Stevens likes it. And I was on the fence too. I was like looking, like here's the thing too. When you look at videos about it and you're like, I don't know, man. I mean, it looks cool. Like when you're attacking, the fighting is really good. It's like really arcadey, and and you do like the nature punch thing, and it lowers their defenses. And so I'm like, and then I slice them up. And so it's really cool. I think it has better fighting than Witcher 3, actually. I mean, I don't think the Witcher 3's fighting was the best, but this is definitely better. It almost feels like a little bit like, I was gonna say Batman, but it doesn't. You don't like zoom to each like enemy like how Batman did, but it felt like that a little bit. But you have more control, like immediate control. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. And like I was just saying, like when you're a kid and you have these imaginations and you do all these things, you have a creative mind to just have adventures, and this game facilitates that for you. You're sitting there, you're like, okay, what am I gonna do today? You can get in the game and decide what you want to do. And you say, I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna give a coin to all the homeless people. That's another thing. There's a currency in this game that has nothing to do with currency, meaning it's I think it's called like the contribution something. So the more you give, like you give to like the homeless dudes and whatever, the beggars and stuff, you give them a coin. I'm giving everybody's coin. I'm like boop 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 boop, right, and then your little thing goes up. And then if you help somebody, it's like contribution to the community, whatever, and thing goes up. And that's currency. And you go to this one vendor that's the contribution currency store dude, and he doesn't take any money. It's based off of what you've done as far as contribution and how much they've given you. And I was like, oh, okay. And so it kind of gives the player agency to do, like, it promotes that type of behavior. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And it's not that much, and especially if you're like super, well, if you have a lot of money, then you probably just get whatever you need to get. But still, that's really, and I mean, I know there's the whole like kind of not Clockwork Orange, but this is the kind of whatchamacallit part where the mechanical dragon. We've seen that video. Everybody's seen that video, so I'm like, yo, man, I can't wait to get to that part. And yeah, that's a good game. It's like, and the thing about that, right? I have it. So when I get a Helix, I'm probably gonna replay it on the Helix. Cause right now I'm looking at all the graphics. Excuse me. And the thing is like, there's ways you can move the camera, and that's I mean, the camera. There's a first person view, which is not the best because of how the camera works. So, and there's also like a really close third person, which sometimes doesn't work, but sometimes I think I leave it on that for the most part. Sometimes I go like super wide, but I like to get a little bit closer. But I totally forgot where I was going on with that with the camera thing. But it's a good. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You can move the camera in a certain way, and you can see how they've done some of the graphics, if that makes sense. Because I was in an alley, right, in the town, and I moved it at the wall a certain way, and it's only because I do Blender and stuff, so I'm familiar with what it looks like. And so I mean, maybe it's just a byproduct of the world being so big, and they can't really go in and do every little detail to every little wall, and you know what I'm saying? It's too huge. And so there's one wall that didn't have like a fine detail up close geometry and texture. So when you went to it, when you looked like right at it, it was cool. But when you went to the side at an angle, almost like a 90-degree angle, you see it's like okay, so and the textures break up, and then it's actually like geometry. It's like a plane that has like a bump. Like not a bump map, but a displacement map on it that's on top of just regular square geometry, basically. And some of you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I was like, okay, all right. I mean, I'm probably never ever gonna do this, but I kind of like to look at it and say, okay, man, you can make it look good, but it's just it's a bunch of the smoke and mirrors that happen in Hollywood that happen in games, because games is literally just smoke and mirrors to make stuff look a certain way, But once again, this game is. I'm still in the first. I still haven't found out all the things. I haven't found out the main secret and stuff. I'm like, yo, this game is crazy. This is, and they still got stuff coming. They talk about, oh, we might do a multiplayer day. I mean, I don't care about that because I just want to. The only thing that I would say that I wish that they had for this game was the ability to choose out of like 3 or 4 different characters, or I mean, I would even say create your own character, but whatever. Like, I wanted to be a female, but honestly, it's so good that I don't think it matters. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if they do that later and if I go to replay it again, then maybe I'll do that. But honestly, I don't know if I would ever replay it. I would just probably keep playing it. It's because that's how big the world is. Like, they say it was 100 hours. Oh, it's 200 hours. I'm like, that's a long time. But anyway, I'm sorry I'm rambling now. But that's what I think. There's two type of players. The players who like to watch their games and not play them, they're not going to like this game. And the players that actually like games, like back in the day when games were video games, then that still lives inside of us. Those are the people who are gonna like these games. Games with super mechanics. You don't have to go through this narrow narrative hallway. You can go whichever way you want and make your own story and have your own adventure. If that's the type of game you're looking for, if that's the type of game that sounds appealing to you, this is the game for you. Now, I will say this last thing. I do want to try to see if it'll work on my ROG Ally. I don't know if it will, because I've heard that every time everybody's trying to do it on that Steam Deck and all that stuff, it's not working. So hopefully they'll do a patch and it'll work, but we'll see. But anyway, I appreciate. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think about, if you've played it, Crimson Desert. And next video we'll talk about the partner direct Xbox put out. You know, we'll go through it like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I appreciate. I'll talk to you on the next one. Tiltowait.